DCS World is one of the most impressive combat sims out there. It is also one of the easiest sims to open up for the first time and immediately think, what did I just get myself into? When you look at how much storage space you need, as well as the first time you pick up one or more aircraft and a few maps. One minute you're watching a Hornet launch off a carrier, missiles flying, radios going absolutely crazy, explosions on the ground, and the next minute you're sitting on in the controls menu wondering why the aircraft has enough keybinds to make you go crazy before you even start the aircraft. But that's exactly why this series exists. This is getting started in DCS World.
Taxi runway 6 via November Alpha. 6 November Alpha, Hog 7 November Romeo. Make that your call sign next time, please. Thank you.
In this series, we're going to break down DCS into practical steps. What is the sim? What can you fly for free? What gear you actually need to fly? How to set up your controls, and how to train without getting overwhelmed, and eventually how to fly real missions with confidence with other people in multiplayer or in a squadron. This is the first episode in the basic briefing before we start binding controls, buying modules, or dropping bombs. Let's talk about what DCS World actually is and what you should expect when you first jump in. So what is DCS World? DCS is digital combat simulator, and at its core, it's a military flight simulator, but calling it just a flight sim almost undersells it. DCS World includes aircraft, helicopters, ground vehicles, ships, air defenses, radars, weapon systems with mission planning, multiplayer servers, campaigns, and full mission editor. And that is a mouthful, because the weapon systems get in detail with your MFDs and DDIs. It's not really built like a normal game where you start at level 1, follow a path, unlock a few things, and roll credits at the end. DCS is more like a sandbox. You choose the aircraft, you choose the mission, the map, you choose how realistic you want the experience to be. You can do a simple free flight around the map with any aircraft you own, as you see here with a free frogfoot. You can practice your landings for an hour, do some air-to-ground attacks, and train without worries with the instant action, or build your own missions in the mission editor, as well as play full multiplayer servers with SRS, real people using radios, and coordinating flight plans using ATC. That's the freedom in what makes DCS amazing. It is also what makes it intimidating, because there is no clear path for a new player and can feel like they're being dropped in the deep end with no checklist, no instructor, and 300 buttons staring back at them. And that's the first thing to understand. DCS is not impossible, it just doesn't always explain itself well to the player. The base game is free, but a lot of the aircraft maps, campaigns, and all the extra content are paid modules. That doesn't mean you need to buy everything. Actually, you really shouldn't buy everything. One of the most common mistakes new players make is grabbing a bunch of aircraft during a sale, installing all of them, and never really learning any of them properly. When starting out, you should pick one airframe, learn it to the best of your ability, focus on that one aircraft, learn the basics, get comfortable, then expand. You're better off knowing one aircraft well than owning 10 aircraft you can barely start. The main free map most players know is the Caucasus map, which I'm probably saying that wrong. This is the classic DCS starting area with air bases, mountains, coastline, cities, valleys, plenty of room for training and combat missions. There's also the Marianas Islands map, which gives you a very different environment with oceans, islands. It's that Pacific style operation type. So even before buying anything, you already have enough to install the sim, fly aircraft, practice, build simple missions, and figure out whether DCS is something you actually want to invest in, because it is a very big investment. And that's the important part, is do not rush to spend money before you know what kind of flying you actually will enjoy. Now let's be honest, DCS feels hard at first, and the reason is not because flying is hard. It feels hard because it throws a lot at you all at once. With all the aircraft systems, radios, and weapons deployment that you can do, every aircraft does this a little differently, and that is where people get overwhelmed. They think they need to learn the entire aircraft immediately. You do not. You do not need to master every weapon system on day one. You don't need to memorize every switch and what it does. You don't need to understand every radar mode and every missile, every radio command even. You need to learn one task at a time. Start with controlling the aircraft. Can you take off, fly straight and level without autopilot? Can you turn without ripping the aircraft apart? I've done that in the F-14 quite a while. Can you line up on the runway? Can you land without turning the aircraft into modern art? That's a big one. Once you can do that, you can move on to learning basic navigation, learning a weapon system, learning one of the mission types from CAS to SEED to DEED. Then you build from there. DCS gets much easier when you stop trying to eat the whole thing all at once and eat it piece by piece. Now let's talk gear. This is one of the first questions people ask. What do I actually need to play DCS? The honest answer is you can start with a keyboard and mouse. The better answer is you want an Xbox controller or a PlayStation style controller that gives you better authority over the aircraft with pitch, roll, rudder, and throttle. All these feel much better with an analog control. So if you're starting with almost nothing, a controller is a decent first step rather than using just keyboard and mouse. Then you have joysticks and HOTAS setups. HOTAS stands for hands-on throttle and stick. That means you have a flight stick in one hand and a throttle in the other with buttons and switches placed where your hands already are. This is where DCS starts to feel real. You do not need the most expensive setup. I started out with a Logitech 3D Pro, then moved to the Logitech X56 HOTAS, and then now I have a VKB setup with the Gladiator and Stex throttle. You don't need to drop hundreds or thousands of dollars when you first start out in flight sim before you even know if you like the sim, but if you stick with DCS, a HOTAS is one of the best upgrades you can make. There is one piece of gear I would put very high on the list: head tracking. Being able to naturally look around the cockpit is a very huge thing in DCS. You constantly need to look around. You need to check your instruments, look out the canopy, find the runway, look behind you, look for your wingman, and spot missiles, and line up for landings, and keep awareness, your situational awareness in a flight. Trying to do all that with keyboard view controls or a mouse can work. It's very clunky. I have some clips of that mouse versus a tracking software. I use OpenTrack and AI Track with a webcam, but there's also the Track IR and Tobii Eye Tracker. There's a lot out there. It's whichever ones you wish to do and choose from. I'll have a video of how to set up OpenTrack and AI Track later on in this series. It makes formation flying a lot easier, dogfighting a hell of a lot easier. Basically, everything gets better when you can look around without fighting the camera view. And you don't need VR on day one. VR can be amazing. I've played in VR a while for quite a bit, but it is also more demanding on your PC if you don't have the right setup for it. A simple head tracking solution can be a great middle ground, and there are free ways to do it with a regular camera. So I hope this finds new players to try out DCS or help you get back into it. What I tell newer players when I meet them online is start with the basic controls of your stick and flaps. Make sure you have your gear bound, your throttle, and weapons. I started with the Frogfoot as it gives you the weapons ground attack capability and feels good for how multiplayer DCS missions work. Always practice your takeoff and landings before worrying about dogfighting and bombing runs. Learn how to get the aircraft into the air and back onto the ground safely. It sounds simple, but this is where the foundation starts. If you can take off, fly a pattern, line up with the runway, and land safely, everything else becomes easier. Next, you should pick a weapon. Pick dumb rockets, dumb bombs, or a guided weapon and learn how it works. Learn how to set it up, how to aim it, when to release it, how to get out of the target area alive, because that is sometimes a struggle when you're close to the ground, especially the A-10 pilots. You can get pretty torn up. Once you understand the weapon, learning the next one becomes a lot easier. Always trial aircraft and maps before you buy it. This is a very big one. On the standalone version of DCS World, Eagle Dynamics has a free trial system that lets you evaluate participating aircraft, not all aircraft, but most, and map modules for 14 days. After you use the trial for a module or map, you can trial the same module again after 6 months. Eagle Dynamic notes that this free trial system is not available on Steam. There is a way to transfer your Steam over to the standalone Eagle Dynamics DCS version. So you need the standalone version for it. So before you spend money on a jet or a map, use the trial system. Try the aircraft, fly it for the 14-day period, see if you actually enjoy that aircraft, check out the cockpit, test the weapons, practice your takeoff and landings with it, see how it feels with your setup, because not everybody's setup is the same and everybody's aircraft type is different. Just because the aircraft that looks the coolest in the trailer might not be the aircraft you enjoy flying every week when you hop on DCS. Pick one aircraft path. Once you've tried the free aircraft and maybe used the trial or two, choose one main aircraft to focus on. That could be a modern multi-role jet like the FA-18 or the F-16. The Cold War jets are fun as well. For that time era, most of the aircraft were analog rather than the computer systems you find in the 18 or the 16. Helicopters are also fun for doing those ground attacks and low-level flying. The exact aircraft matters less than the commitment to one aircraft. Learn it properly, build your confidence with it, then branch out later. The biggest mistake new DCS players make is trying to learn everything at once. Don't do that. I did that for a while before settling down on one aircraft until I could branch out to others. So start simple, use your trials, find the basics, practice the fundamentals, and choose your path in DCS. And that is how you go from starting at the main menu to actually flying sorties later on. There will be videos in the series to help you along in the basics to advanced guides for many of the aircraft that I fly. Whether you are a new player starting or returning, I hope to make new guides for this game with the current build of DCS. Even though most of it has not changed with older aircraft, I hope to do guides for the new aircraft. I want to give a new light to DCS and help new virtual pilots or help existing ones. Thanks for watching.
404, copy 32, not 2232.
404, read back correct. 99, take overhead, Mother Angel 7. 402, squawk 7142.
402, squawk 7142.
404, squawk 7143.